Welcome to Tyrone Bowman Live. Israel has increased and stepped up its strikes on Hezbollah. So far, it has been the deadliest day in years for Lebanon. So let's talk about this story right here, according to BBC or the British Broadcasting Corporation. More than 350 people have been killed and 1,200 injured in intense Israeli airstrikes across Lebanon. The country's health minister says after Israel warned it was deepening its attacks on the armed group Hezbollah. Thousands of people also fled their homes as the Israeli army said it struck more than 800 Hezbollah targets and told civilians to evacuate areas near the Iran-backed group's positions. Hezbollah launched dozens of rockets into northern Israel following the strikes. Israeli paramedics said one person was injured by a shrapnel. It is the deadliest day in almost years of escalating cross-border fighting that has heightened fears of an all-out war. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said on Sunday that he feared such a conflict could turn Lebanon into another Gaza. 11 months of fighting between Hezbollah and Israel, sparked by the war in Gaza, have killed hundreds of people, most of them Hezbollah fighters, and displaced tens of thousands on both sides of the border. Hezbollah has said it is acting in support of the Palestinian armed group Hamas and will not stop until there is a ceasefire in Gaza. Both groups are backed by Iran and proscribed as terrorist organizations by Israel and the UK or the United Kingdom and other countries. The Pentagon said it was sending a small number of additional U.S. troops to the Middle East amid the growing crisis. In light of increased tension in the Middle East and out of an abundance of caution, we are sending a small number of additional U.S. military personnel forward to augment our focus that are already in the region, said Pentagon spokesman Major General Pat Ryder in a briefing with reporters. He will not answer any follow-up questions on the specifics. Lebanese media reported that Israeli warplanes carried out the first wave of strikes across the country at around 6:30 or 3:30 GMT on Monday. Dozens of locations were targeted in the southern district of Sidon. This name I might have a hard time pronouncing, but I'll try. Marajan and Nabetith, Blint, Ja'al, Tyre, Jazin, and Zaharini, as well as in several eastern districts in the Bekaa Valley, according to the state-run National News Agency, or NNA. Later, the NNA said that the Israeli strikes intensified across the south and the Bekaa Valley, causing casualties and widespread damage. Lebanon's health ministry said on Monday evening that 356 people had been killed in the strikes and another 1,246 were injured. It did not report how many other casualties were civilians or combatants, but did say that 24 children and 42 women were among the dead. Health Minister Fa'as Abiyad added that thousands of families had also been displaced by the strikes. There were large traffic jams on roads out of the southern cities of Tyre and Sidon, as civilians fled in response to the Israeli bombardment, as well as recorded warnings from the Israeli military telling them to stay away from buildings and areas near Hezbollah positions and weaponry. One man in Beirut said he had taken his son out of school after receiving such a warning. They're calling everyone and threatening people by phone, so we're here to take my boy from school. The situation is not reassuring, Asa told Reuters news agency. Information Minister Saad Makara said his ministry had been told to evacuate its building in Beirut, but he insisted that it would not comply with what he called a psychological war. Interior Minister Basham Malawi said schools would be opened in the south and east. Beirut and the northern city of Tripoli as shelters for the displaced. Prime Minister Najib Makiti told a cabinet meeting they continued Israeli aggression on Lebanon as a war of extermination in every sense of the word. The Israel Defense Forces, or the IDF, said in a statement on Monday afternoon that its aircraft had carried out strikes on approximately 800 Hezbollah terror targets in southern Lebanon and Bekaa Valley. Earlier, IDF spokesman Rear Admiral Daniel Hajari told a briefing that videos from southern Lebanon showed Hezbollah's weapons exploding inside homes. Every house that we strike contains weapons, rocket, missiles, UVAs that are intended to kill Israeli civilians, he claimed. He also warned civilians that they should move immediately away from Hezbollah weapons and rocket stores for your safety and protection. Earlier, Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said in a video the Israeli forces were deepening our attacks in Lebanon. The actions will continue until we achieve our goal to return the northern residents safely to their homes, he added. A senior Israeli military official, meanwhile, insisted that the IDF was currently focusing on Israel's aerial campaign only. After being asked by reporters if a ground invasion of southern Lebanon was imminent, the official said Israel had three aims: to degrade Hezbollah's ability to fire rockets and missiles over the Lebanon-Israel border, to push its fighters back from the frontier, and to destroy the infrastructure built by Hezbollah's elite Radwan force, which could be used to attack Israeli communities. Hezbollah did not comment on the Israeli claims that it had hidden weapons in houses, but the group said in a statement that it had responded to the Israeli enemy's attacks by firing rockets at 3 Israeli military bases in northern Israel, as well as a weapons manufacturing facility in the coastal Uv area north of the port of city of Haifa. The IDF said at least 125 projectiles crossed from Lebanon, and that an unspecified number had landed in the lower Galilee and upper Galilee regions, as well as Carmel, Hamakin, and Himferses areas near the coast and in the occupied Golan Heights. One house was badly damaged by a rocket in Javat, Avini, in the lower Galilee. Resident David Yitza told the BBC that he, his wife, and 6-year-old daughter were unharmed because they had managed to get behind the solid door of the house's safe room seconds earlier when a warning siren sounded. It's a metry from life to death, he said. Israel's ambulance service said it treated a 59-year-old man with shrapnel wounds to his lower limbs in the lower Galilee, and that another man was injured as he rushed to shelter. On Sunday, Hezbollah launched more than 150 rockets and drones across the border, while Israeli jets struck hundreds of targets across southern Lebanon. Hezbollah has remained defiant despite suffering a series of significant setbacks last week. On Tuesday and Wednesday, 39 people were killed and thousands were wounded after thousands of pagers and walkie-talkies used by Hezbollah exploded. And on Friday, Hezbollah said at least 16 members, including top commanders of its elite Radwan force, were among 45 people killed in an Israeli airstrike in southern Beirut. I'll keep you updated on the Israeli-Hezbollah conflict as everything is made available to me. Never surrender.